It never says. That's one thing I really don't. Hey, y'all. I really don't love about StreamYard. Like, at least everybody else is like 3, 2, 1. StreamYard is like, you're live.
It's like boom and go.
What's up, mamas? What's up? It is our monthly release overwhelm sessions, me and Kelly March. I absolutely love this sister because, one, there are not enough brown faces in the mental health space, specifically helping women and moms that have special needs kids. Like, most therapists say they help special needs parents, but they ain't got no kids. If they got kids, they ain't special needs. And then they not brown, so they don't get the dynamics around getting care and support. And so that's just a really crazy thing. Plus, you a badass and I'm a badass, and we know what we talking about, and we just here to help y'all, especially during the holiday, um, and keeping you in alignment, because it's really easy to get knocked out of whack during this time of year. Because this is the first major holiday, and Christmas is the one that normally knock everybody
Yes.
out. Yes, that is the one that normally knocks everybody out. Give me a second. I am going to share this in Facebook land as soon as I can figure my life out.
Right.
So here's the thing. I know, and we both know, that this is the time, especially if you have special needs kids, and being mindful about what their boundaries are. Because my son's boundary was 45 minutes. If we was at somebody's house longer than 45 minutes, they was going to get the show of their life. I was going to get the show of my life, and he was going to get his. So, or they was going to get theirs. So knowing what those boundaries are, um, for yourself and for your child. And a lot of the times, have you noticed that whatever your child's boundaries are as far as time, they're yours too? It just so happens they're a bit more sensitive and haven't been forced to play the nice game and act like you're not really, freaking out on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So noticing what those are and being really aware, I have found, has been like super duper helpful for me when it comes to my kids, and knowing those triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes. And also planning around those boundaries that your children have as well. Really watching for the cues because they might not be able to vocalize it in the moment, but really watching for those physical cues as well. Like I know for my son, when he's ready to go, he's like running to the door. You can tell like his energy is just completely off. Now I like that he's a little more vocal. So sometimes he'll just be like, Mommy, I'm ready to go. I'm just like, get your coat. Let's go. So
and
definitely watching for those physical cues.
and even in that, knowing how to I don't know about you, but we had the family members that be like, "Oh my God, why are you leaving so early? Like, you guys just got here." Because like we will be the
Mm-hmm.
first ones, like FIFO, first in, first out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Especially as if you have a child that's a bit more sensitive, because I know my family is loud, my husband's family is loud, and if you have a child that's a bit more sensitive to noises and lights and environment, many of our families have not yet been equipped
Yeah.
to handle special needs kids. They don't get why you might need a sensory space. They don't get that your child does not want to be touched. Bump being hugged, but doesn't want to be touched. And so,
Mm-hmm.
how do you navigate that without losing your mind? How do you navigate those nuances of family? Do you just stay home, or do you try to go out and brave? Like, what were some of the things, like some of your cues into whether or not you stayed home or if you like went out?
So we definitely are the family that go early so we can leave early. So we're there, you see us, we showed up. And then if we have to leave early, then it's like, okay, we already spent a good amount of time here at the family function. Um, but I find what works for us is that we have to just really be direct with our family, whether they understand it, whether they accept it or not. We really have to be direct with them and let them know what's going on for our family dynamic. If our son is having a rough day, listen, we can't stay long if it's going to be too loud, if it's going to be too noisy, if it's going to be, a huge event, because we come from a big family as well. Listen, he needs a quiet space, he needs a timeout, like he needs to just go somewhere and decompress. And if you can't provide that space, then we might have to cut our time
Sure.
short. It was a process getting to that point because a lot of times we had to kind of practice the narrative that what we were going to say before going in, because sometimes you get there and you go blank. It's like, okay, well, what do I say? How do I convey this message that, we might have to leave early, or my son's having, a rough day, or it's just too much sensory input for him today. So we really had to practice beforehand what it is that we needed to go in and say. So we already had it at the forefront of our minds. So we wouldn't, miss a beat. So definitely practicing and just being very, very direct. Eventually, your family will get it. If they don't,
They will.
they will eventually.
They will. So
Yeah.
yeah, you sound like you did a lot of what we did, which there was a lot of planning involved.
Hmm.
Especially if you guys have like newer kids. Like sometimes you go, okay, well, I can just go and do. I think just with kids, period, but it's specifically with kids that have sensory issues. That planning piece is going to save your life. If you were a free form and just a free flowing spirit, and you kind of did what you wanted, that does not work with our kids
No.
at all. That is going to lead you to even more stress because they're going to be sensory wise stressed out. And that's we did a lot of planning. It was like, okay, where are we going to go? Well, whose house we're going to choose to go to?
Mhm.
How are we going to explain this to people? What tools do I need to bring? Because I can't expect for somebody else to be for their house to be sensory equipped because they don't live with this.
Yeah.
So I would pack certain things, whether for my daughter for a little bit it was headphones.
Yeah.
Um, different things to help them to acclimate to whatever they were in. And again, like you said, as it moves forward and as you begin to show up more and kind of introduce your
Yeah.
child even more into that situation, your family gets it. Of
Yeah.
course, everybody is not going to get it. But, I think, and from my experience with my family and even with like my husband's family and other people's families, at some point, they get that your child needs something different and they
Mhm.
love you and they want to see you. So as long as you stay the course and have a plan, they will follow the plan. Like my mother used to give me pushback. Why are you making them special food? Why are you doing this? And that lasted for about maybe 2 holidays. And then after that, she just was quiet and just did what I
Yeah.
because she saw like
Mhm.
what it did and how it affected them. And so she said, okay, you know,
Yeah, like we have to do the same thing as, especially with like planning the meals, because my son doesn't eat everything. So I'm sitting here thinking about Thanksgiving, and I'm like, he is not going to touch none of that. Let me make sure I have his green peas ready, because that's the only vegetable that he will touch, and some plain noodles with no sauce, because it can't have
yep,
any sauce, no pepper, no salt, no nothing on it. I'm like, let me just plan in advance what he's going to eat for Thanksgiving, because he's not going to eat the yams, he's not going to eat the mac and cheese, he's not going to touch the turkey. He's going to be like, oh, that's yucky, I don't want it. So definitely that planning, and then going back to what you were saying about boundaries, we also have to teach our family that even though our children are younger, they too have physical boundaries as
yes,
well. And they have to warm up when they're going into large situations, regardless if it's family or not. Some kids just don't want to, give a fist bump or a high five or a hug right then and there. They have to get acclimated to their environment. So reminding your family, like, hey, give him a moment, give him 5 minutes to get in, take his coat off, get settled, get his, his feet warm and everything
yep,
before, approaching him. He needs that time to kind of decompress. So
yep,
reminding them that, yes, 4-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds, they have physical boundaries too. Everybody's not a hugger, even the kids.
yes. Yeah, that whole piece there, if you ladies are taking notes, these are like nuances and little pieces that when you have a special needs child, nobody really tells you about. And you kind of go into these situations blind. And even if you're the one that's hosting, I did something the other day, talking to moms about hosting. I don't host as much anymore because I,
Mhm.
I don't like it.
Because we tired. We tired.
Even with getting, because like one year I got a caterer, even with getting a caterer, okay, I still have to set the food out. I
Hmm.
still have to, either pick it up or, it has to be delivered and unwrapped and it still has to be
Hmm.
wrapped up and cleaned up. This is not fun for me.
Yeah.
And so like every year, the holidays, what I've noticed is okay. We already have an unconventional lifestyle. So
Yeah.
if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving, nobody's going to be mad at you, like for real, for real. We started
Mhm.
using some of the more non-traditional things as bigger times
Yeah.
to engage with other family
Hmm.
members because it wasn't so pressure filled. It just feels like the holidays are so pressure filled. Um, that is crazy, for us as moms to have to go through all of that.
Yeah.
But just setting those boundaries for yourself. Like, what do you actually like? Are you doing some of these things because you feel obligated? You
Hmm.
know, or you feel like it's expected of you to show up to be a good daughter or whatever like that? Like that's adding more stress to your life.
Hmm.
Um, and no, it's not always hard to tell mama, look, I just don't like hanging out with all these people. Like I've
Hmm.
told my mom that like finally if it was, I would say about 5 or 6 years ago, I said,
Yeah.
I love everybody, but I just cannot take all of that chaotic energy. And not that anybody's arguing, it's just that it's really loud. It's a lot,
Hmm.
like for me, it's a lot sensory wise. I
Yeah.
can't do it. And then she goes, so baby, why are you doing it? I'm like, because I thought you wanted. She said, I don't care if you show it. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of times you think people have these
Hmm.
expectations and they don't. And then, like, I thought I would be disappointing family. Like, they got that I was like, since after an hour, that I'm done.
Hmm.
And so, knowing what you can handle, if you love big crowds, by all means, have people over. But if
Hmm.
you are like, I don't want to be around people, you're like, I'm already overwhelmed from all the pieces of being a mom and that's I just want to
Hmm.
decompress on that day, then do that. Have that peace there.
Yeah.
Something that
And be okay with your decision and not
yeah,
feel guilty about it.
exactly. Now something you brought up when we was just on the back end, and I really like this. As far as managing your energy and managing just managing your like I had never thought about some of these pieces, but tell us about Hawk, Kelly. I think every mom should like use this over this holiday weekend and forever ever.
Yes. So the acronym HALT, HALT, it stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. Now, this originated in addiction medicine, working with persons in recovery, but it has branched out into just overall mental and emotional wellness. A lot of times we forget or we overlook just the basic physical needs that we have to just get through the day. So if we take a overall self inventory of how we're doing, we look at if we're hungry, if we're, missing meals throughout the day because we're so busy and we're managing not only our schedules, but our spouse's schedule, our children's schedule, and everything that we got going on.
Yep.
Sometimes we miss meals. That was me today. I had dinner like 20 minutes before I jumped on here. And the way I ate was ridiculous because I was like starving. But when you're hungry, you get irritable. You start to shut down. You start to get headaches. You get hangry. You can't really
Yeah.
focus. So making sure that you're eating properly throughout the day, even if it's just small snacks to keep you energized. A stands for anger. So when we get angry, it could be the littlest things. When we get angry, we don't tend to be rational. We're very irrational when we're angry. So being mindful of everything around us, how is it affecting us? How is our environment affecting us? What are we angry about? Are we angry because we got so many things on our plate and we need to delegate some things out? Are we angry because we should have said no to something and we put too much on ourselves and we just feeling like I can't get this done and I'm very overwhelmed. So being mindful of that anger and where it's coming from. Lonely. Sometimes we can be in a room full of people and still feel lonely. we can feel emotionally disconnected. So making sure that we are still emotionally connected within ourselves and emotionally connected to those around us. If we need to talk, pull somebody aside. Listen, I'm overwhelmed. I'm stressed. I just need to talk. I just need to vent. Can you be a listening ear? Let me get this out. So definitely folk just honing in on if you're feeling lonely in the moment. And then the last one is tired. When we're tired, we tend to think negatively. It increases our feelings of anger. We're less focused and we tend to perform less. So if we know we got all these things on our plate, if we're super tired because we only got 3 hours of sleep last night, we're not going to be good for anybody. We're not going to be good for ourselves. We're not going to be good for our business. We're not going to be good for our spouse or our children. So really making sure that you're getting enough sleep at night. So if anything, ladies, remember, halt. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, tired? If you are one of those things, fix it and fix it now.
I call that one of like a slow down and breathe distractions, where it's
Mm,
things that you think are just annoying to you, right?
yes.
But it's really your body telling you, wait a minute, like you said, halt,
Mm-hmm.
slow down, and
Mm-hmm.
let's see what's really going on
Yep.
and what really needs to be happening. And that loneliness, like the lonely one, the anger and the lonely, the lonely one can look like you're doing all of Thanksgiving dinner by yourself and everybody else is just coming over to eat.
Yes.
And sometimes you think it's anger, but really it's just that I don't feel like a team member. I just feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm the help and everybody is coming over to just, sap off my energy, you
Yep.
know, or, lonely could be so many things. And so really sitting and going, okay, well, I'm pissed off. Okay, but what am I pissed off about? And so when you think about that and you start digging through, like it's the acronym
Mm-hmm.
is meant for you to start digging, not
Yes.
just to go, I'm mad and like to
Mm-hmm.
bounce, but I'm mad. So why am I mad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because nobody's helping me do the dishes.
Yep.
Well, why is nobody helping me do the dishes? Shit, because I really didn't ask, or
Mm-hmm.
because I asked, hey Christy, or because I asked in a way that, that's something that we kind of talked about in a little bit, I think last month, and even in our session during the
Mm-hmm.
summit, was that if you ask your family to do something and your head is spinning and you
Yep.
cussing everybody out because you're mad because you've been doing it by yourself, let me tell you something that I have learned from over 20 years of marriage. Men and kids stop listening when you start yelling.
Yep.
They stop listening. They don't hear nothing beyond I gotta womp womp
Yep.
womp womp. You sound like the Charlie Brown teacher after a certain
Yes.
point. And so this is why, and that normally doesn't happen
Mm-hmm.
until you have allowed your boundaries to be so, we love you and we mean it. But this normally happens after you have allowed your boundaries to be so pushed over the edge that now you're feeling it because you're like, oh no, that's okay. Oh no, I got it. Oh no, like you were saying earlier, kind of
Mm-hmm.
being the go to girl. Oh no, I got this. I got that.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. I got it. And you don't got it. You
Mm-hmm.
exhausted and you need help.
Yep.
And versus saying, hey, could you help me with X, Y, and Z? Like something you said in the summit, you were like, what do you need help with? Get
Mm-hmm.
clear on what you're doing and what you need help with. Because I know if I go to my husband and go, babe, I need you to wash the dishes. Men need more instruction
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and kids. So washing the dishes entails what? What exactly do you want me to do? Do you just want me to
Mm-hmm.
wash them or do you actually want me to clean the counters too and clean the kitchen? Do you want me to just clean the counters or do you want me to clean the stove? Like, what do you need me to do in the kitchen? There have been so many
Mm-hmm.
times I have been unjustly pissed at my family because I'm like, I told y'all to clean the kitchen. I mean, I told y'all to wash the dishes. We wash the dishes.
Yep.
But the counters are nasty. The floor is dirty, but you didn't tell us to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nobody's watching what you're doing.
Exactly. And then to add on to that, when do I need you to do it? Because yeah, I need you to clean the dishes,
Yep.
but not tomorrow, not 10 hours. Like I need you to do it within the next hour so I can get dinner started. So
Right?
when do I need you to do it?
Smart goals, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what do I need? What does it look like? Are you giving it to somebody that this is something they can do so it's attainable for them? What's the
Mm-hmm.
time? You're looking at those things, and then what are the consequences?
Yeah.
Okay,
No
so
dinner.
right. Exactly. And I've done that. So like my kids wouldn't they would half clean the kitchen. So like when I made this list, I had done a checklist. I was
Hmm.
They half cleaned it. I'm like, look, I guess we're not eating today. But
Yep.
we I guess I said, it's part of being a team.
Yeah,
So if one person member of the team is not doing what they're supposed to do, then the entire team cannot operate, you
that's
know.
right.
Christy, it's sad, not sad. So here's what makes it not sad. Even though we as women are kind of intuitively um attuned in to everything that's needed to be done around the house because we're in it, these are things that also had to be repetitiously done to us. Now,
Hmm.
whether your mom's a version of repetition was talking or popping you upside the head, there was a repetition involved. And what I've learned is that you have to repeat yourself often and you have to make it clear. I always say like you're talking to a 3-year-old. And it's
Hmm.
nothing against other people. It's just that people have things and spaces in their life that I mean, you've been doing it, especially if you've been doing it for like 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and now you're asking for help.
Hmm.
You're gonna have to spell it out because they ain't been watching you.
Exactly.
And yet, I mean, I guess you could say, I don't know how you mean by sad, because it means sad, you could mean sad in while you haven't asked for help in that length of time.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're gonna have to spell it out, especially if you've been doing everything. Unfortunately, even though the tables are starting to even out as far as the work men do, and as far
Hmm.
it's like my husband is almost 50. Like there was a lot of things, and he grew up with a single mom. There was still a lot of things that I had to
Hmm.
communicate, and not because he's not intelligent,
Hmm.
but because these are not things that he did. I did all the things. And that was only because he was in the military, but I just kept it going when he got out because that was our rhythm. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you always are going to have to spell it out. That's the safest way to do it, is to communicate it clear
Hmm.
and to communicate it fully,
Yeah.
about what you need done so that you're not leaving any gray areas. Because as soon as you don't spell it out, like I said, you'll be like, but I said wash the dishes.
Hmm.
You did. And see, to me, I knew wash the dishes meant clean the kitchen because my mama had, she didn't repeat it, but she took like all the dishes out the cabinet,
Hmm.
or she would wake me up when she got off her shift and have me like redo it. Like, so it wasn't as kind
Yeah.
and gentle,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
knowing
And,
what that's like for you and
yeah.
knowing what those things show up as for you is pivotal. What do you need to give away this holiday season? Yeah, kids, you got to train. No offense,
Yeah.
guys, but you got to train men too, honey.
Yes. Yes, you
Um,
do. Because because our meaning of certain things is completely different than their meaning. So we sometimes we do have to spell it out from A to Z, because like you said, the dishes example, my example of doing the dishes is clean the entire kitchen, whereas your example of cleaning the dishes is just to load the dishwasher and leave it there.
and it's like you
Everybody
got
has a
eggs and stuff
different
on the
meaning.
counter.
Right. And I can't expect for you to read my mind because nobody's a mind reader. If I want it done a certain way, then I need to express to you how I want it done. Because then I'm setting myself up to be mad and upset because you didn't do it the way I asked you, or the way I thought I asked you, or
You
the
should
way
do
I
it.
thought you were going to do it.
Yeah, that's like a whole thing right there. My rule of thumb now is to keep breaking it down until you tell me to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because like now my kid's like, "Ma, I got it." Okay. Because I'll keep taking it down to the lowest common denominator and doing all the things. And then when they say, "I got it," what do you have? Like getting clear. Okay, you say you got it. Then what do I want you to do?
Mm-hmm.
Versus me just walking off. Because he's 10. 8 times out of 10,
Yep.
he don't got it all the way. He left out a few steps.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just going back over those steps and everything with him. And, with all of my people, I think that's what gets us in trouble a lot as moms would you call it a fear to communicate, Kelly? Like communicate our needs?
I would say that it is a fear to communicate our needs because as moms, we have to be the ones to keep everything together. That's just the role that we play. That we have to have the mental capacity to take care of everyone and everybody's needs. That we don't often get a chance to express what we need or what we want. Is that fair? Because we're so hyper focused on everybody else, and we tend to put ourselves last.
Yeah. I was have you listened to Will Smith's book yet?
I haven't. I'm going to schedule it so that I can do so.
So I've been listening to it like on speed. And he brings up this one session. I'm like, God, men are so clueless. So him and Jada went to therapy, and the therapist asked them to list their priorities. Hers were the kids, him, herself, and then extended family. His were himself, her, the kids, and then like everybody else. And she's like, what do you mean? And but then,
Mhm.
I always tell moms like think like your husband,
Yeah.
because so often we put ourselves last,
Hmm.
that when somebody else puts themselves first, it almost makes us feel like, how dare you? I don't put myself first. How dare you put yourself first? But I chuckle because I've been in that same situation with my husband. He's
Hmm.
like, I'm gonna get me a nap. I'm thinking, how are you getting a nap? Like, where do they hand
Hmm.
out naps at in this piece? Like, do I go to a line and pick up a nap card
Right.
and take a nap? Like, how is this working
Hmm.
out? And then I realized that even the kids didn't go back and forth with him. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh. And I started peeping game.
Yep.
Okay, he does it, but then he still does things with the family. But he knows when
Hmm.
he's done. So I started going, I'm going upstairs to take a nap. He go, all
Yep.
right. Okay, yep. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna go for a drive. I'm gonna do it. He's like, okay. And sometimes we feel like our husband gonna give pushback. A lot of the times, if you just communicate it,
Yep.
they're cool with it. Just let them know, because they're gonna do the same thing to make sure that they can operate at
Hmm.
their optimal level as well. And so you can't be afraid of taking time for yourself. It doesn't make you a bad mom or a bad wife
Hmm.
or nothing. Is going to blow up and fall apart. Um, exactly, Christy. And even if it does, that's why you have insurance. That's why you have insurance, and I found that when I started to trust to let my husband do what I stopped worrying about how he was going to interact with the kids when I was
Yeah.
gone. Whatever. Like if y'all sit and watch TV the whole time and everybody's happy, you know what? Who am I
Yep.
to say that that's the wrong thing to do? I'm about to go live my best life. I'll see y'all in a few hours. Bye. I'm going to hang out with
Yep.
my girls. Bye.
Exactly. Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that whole piece of you have to use your voice. You have to say
Hmm.
what it is you need. You have to get clear about what it is you need. You
Hmm.
have to know what you need and what you want
Yeah.
in order to, is it pull or just to invite people in to help you, to pull people, to pull your team together. Because if you given, half directions, like me and Kelly said, you're going to be frustrated. And then if you're going behind them to clean up and pick up and do all of it, I can tell you from personal experience.
Mhm.
I started doing that and my family just stopped helping altogether. It's like, well, why do it when you just gonna go behind us and like redo everything?
Yep. Yep. Might as well do it yourself.
Might as well do it yourself and just start, engaging, your family and how you want them to help you. But in order to do that, you got to know what you need. And that is
Hmm.
something both Kelly and I can help you with and help guide you through. We do it in different modalities, but
Hmm.
girl, I got a therapist on tap. Do you hear me? It's a
Yes,
part of
girl.
my self-care because sometimes you need somebody, and you're like a therapy coach, I would say. You're licensed. Do I have it right? I always get it wrong. She's a
Yes.
licensed therapist, but she's not from the space of being clinical. It's more of a pulling out and coaching piece, which I think is
Mhm.
so needed and awesome. And helping you to see those patterns and helping you to break those patterns. And then I do just the coaching piece and life strategy and really helping you to say, okay, what's that goal and going towards that goal. So she's going to help you dig deep. And then I help you take the goal and create the strategies with it. And sometimes that digging deep and you have to know what you need. Like, is it something that you feel like is blocking you up, and you can't figure out why this keep happening and why this keeps showing up, Kelly, if you know that there's somewhere you want to be and some way you want your life to look like, and you're trying to navigate your business and your family, and you're trying to figure out how these two entities are
Mhm.
going to play well with each other, me. So wherever you are both of us, if you feel like you need to dig deep and go for some goals, both of us,
Yes. Give us a call.
give us a call. I'll put our links and stuff in this after we get done. But this holiday season, this this season in particular, I think is really, I mean, it's supposed to be a joyous time, but it's tough for so many
Mhm.
people because of the commercial expectations that are
Mhm.
placed on us specifically as moms, and that are that make it harder,
Yeah.
that make it so much harder. And so how do you bust through those expectations to create what you want to create? We gave you the steps. That hot one,
Mhm.
if y'all need to know what that is, you need to go back to about the 15-minute mark and get the breakdown on that hot method, something great for you to use this weekend as you navigate.
Yes.
um because as moms, I have found myself, when I used to do big Thanksgiving dinners and stuff, the most eating I had done was tasting. I hadn't really
Yeah.
sat down to eat anything. And so a lot of the times I was operating from all four of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hungry, angry, lonely, and tired.
Yep.
And so you don't make the best decisions, and you're not really being present and enjoying the present
Yeah.
moment, which can, which is what actually makes these times special, is being
Yeah.
able to connect. So we hope this was helpful for you, and that y'all can go back to unthawing y'all turkeys or whatever you do with them. We will catch you all next month before the Christmas holiday. Um, because I like to kind of wind it down. I don't wind it down as much, but we won't be here.
All
So
right now.
so yeah, I want to make sure to give you all some holiday cheer, and to we want to make sure that we're able to again help to reinforce what we were reinforcing today. This thing of not losing your mind during the holiday and not losing your sense of center. For some of you, this is going to be beautiful because what you thought was okay, you're going to really quickly discover over this next couple of days that, oh my gosh, I'm like 2 steps from everything imploding.
Mhm.
I need help. So
Mhm.
our links will be, I'm going to put them in the comment notes here so that you guys can reach out to us. Our links are emails, things of that nature, so you can reach out to us and just have conversation to see. Don't sit in your head. Don't go, okay, I'll do this later. Um, but just to reach out, and even if it's nothing more than a conversation, like reach out to one of us and have just a conversation to see if you're really, operating a shit show, or if things are actually kind of calm and maybe you
Mhm.
just in your head. Like Kelly would be perfect for that. Like, because if you in your head, she can help you get out. Anywho.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna pull it right on out.
So, ladies, have a fabulous holiday weekend. We love you all. See you next month. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
And